In today's video, we're going to be doing a in-depth sprinting analysis on the rematch between Sha'Carri Richardson and Julien Alfred from the Olympic 100-meter final, going in-depth into their split times, their top speed, how they're able to accelerate, and why Sha'Carri Richardson was able to win. We're going to go ahead and hop right into it here. So we're looking at both Sha'Carri Richardson in lane 5, and then we have Julien Alfred in lane 4. We'll also be looking a bit at Dina Asher-Smith just because she accelerated very, very well. She ended up coming in 3rd place, running a 10:89, slightly behind Julien Alfred, and then the winner Sha'Carri Richardson ran 10:84. So first thing that stands out when we see them accelerate, and this is something that I teach a lot within the acceleration principles, is really trying to get out the best that you can. We can see that with Dina Asher-Smith, she does a really good job of, one, that first action with the foot is very forward there, where we can see, like with Sha'Carri, well, she had a pretty good reaction time and was very quick to get that foot off the ground or off the block. She still lifted up a good amount there and got a little more vertical, and so that allowed Dina Asher-Smith to get the foot down a little bit sooner because she was coming out more, and also the trajectory of her body was much more forward. We can see, like, Sha'Carri, while she's able to respond quickly, is a little more vertical with how she's lifting her leg upwards there. In comparison to Dina Asher-Smith, we can see how she's going much more forwards with that foot and therefore able to pick up much more distance per step, where, again, Sha'Carri ends up being a lot more upright from the beginning and is not covering as much distance, and that impacts how well she's able to accelerate. So when you look at Dina Asher-Smith, she got out in the first 10 meters. She had a 1:98 split time, and by the time they got to 40 meters, she was in a pretty comfortable lead with a 5:06 40-meter split. So now we'll get into what allowed both Sha'Carri Richardson and Julien Alfred to come back. And a big thing when you look at Sha'Carri Richardson and what she's doing within her sprinting mechanics, she's a lot more side to side in the movement. So while she's very vertical at the beginning, you could see that she's really, like, dropping that right arm and getting a ton of length here with that right hand. We can see, like, the left side not getting as much length, a lot of dropping, a lot of rotating within that right side, and that allows her to really be on the front edge of that left foot as she's striking the ground. The right side, she's much more quick, she's much more vertical, gets that foot right straight down. But the left side, she's very much turning out, very much rotating as she is going through that acceleration and getting into her top speed. And that allows her, I think, to get into her top speed fairly effectively. When you look at it from this side, it maybe looked like she's not doing a great job with her acceleration. I think that's where she struggles in the beginning, is she just lets that left arm get so far back behind that sometimes it makes it difficult for her to be able to get that left leg up and through. But then as she gets into her top speed, it allows her to really generate a lot of power out of that leg, which is a big reason why she's able to come back and run as fast as she did. When you look at the split times, she was able to get up into a 0.94 in the 60-meter split, so from 60 to 70 meters, and that was also what she got in 70 to 80 meters. And, I mean, finished the race off strong. 0.94 into about 24 miles an hour. 23.8 is the exact speed, where Dina Asher-Smith was more in 0.95, 0.97. So while she accelerated really well, her fastest split time was at 50 meters, was at 0.95 at 50 meters. She ended up not being able to maintain that top speed as effectively, and therefore ended up getting caught by Sha'Carri Richardson. And that's what's amazing about Sha'Carri, is she's not very big, but is able to still generate so much speed, and a lot of that has to do with that power that she's able to really generate out of that left side as she gets later on in the race. Obviously at the beginning she's not as good with the speed, but even, you know, Julien Alfred, the reigning 100-meter champion, ends up getting caught, right? Julien Alfred was out in front of Sha'Carri. Dina Asher-Smith was obviously way out in front of her. The 40-meter mark, Sha'Carri Richardson was at 5:14. Julien Alfred was at 5:13, so she was winning. The main thing that we wanted to be able to see, though, is what allowed Sha'Carri to be able to do that. I think a lot of it has to do with how she's pulling back within that left arm and what she does within the left arm. This gives a good slow motion analysis. Again, we could just see with the landing, she's very vertical within that right leg. We're looking at Sha'Carri here. Very vertical with that right leg, pushes straight down into the ground on that side, so she's very quick with that cycle. On the left side, a little more reach, a little more external rotation in that leg, which Again, I think that's more of the power leg. I think that's the leg that ends up spending a little bit more time off the ground. I think Dina Asher-Smith just needs to be able to maintain getting the leg through at a little bit quicker rate, right? So when she gets to her top speed, don't get stuck with that foot coming back too far behind. You got to be able to maintain a quick foot contact time. That's the thing with going out more with the acceleration. While it's great to be able to cover more distance, it also makes it so you have a tendency to get longer foot contact time, right? Because if you're covering more ground, this is what we see with like 400-meter runners, right? They're covering more distance, so therefore their foot contact time is longer, where when you get to your top speed, you want to be very quick with that turnover rate, and therefore you want to be able to have a very fast foot contact time. And that's when you're creating great vertical force. And you see Usain Bolt, and I mean, Sha'Carri is a great example of this, as somebody who creates a ton of great vertical force and therefore has very quick foot contact time. She's really doing a great job of limiting the time that she's spending back behind with her legs, and a lot of that has to do, I think, with what she's doing with the shoulders. Very quick rotation within the shoulders, so then she doesn't have to push off a ton within the feet. She could maintain a very forward position with the hips, and that allows her to generate a lot of force both downwards and forwards in her leg cycle. So instead of getting stuck with the foot back behind, she's able to reach much more effectively and generate a lot of power. Like, look at that left leg right there. Great extension, great reach there. Makes it so now she's covering great distance, making it so she's running very, very fast. She's not necessarily gaining speed through here, right? So at the 70-meter mark, she was at a 0.94, but then at the 80-meter mark, ran a 0.95 split. At the 90-meter, so for 80 to 90 meters, she ran a 0.96 split. At the last 90 to 100, the last 10-meter split, it was, again, 0.96. So she went from 0.94 to 0.95 to 0.96. So she's still slowing down, even though she's passing these women. It's just a matter of not slowing down as fast. So we see like Dean Asher-Smith, again, gets that longer foot contact time, starts getting the feet stuck back behind. Her last split was a 1-second split, again, compared to 0.96 with Sha'Carri Richardson. So that makes a big difference when it comes to how it looks at the finish. So it's looking like Sha'Carri Richardson is really speeding up to be able to finish, but in reality, she's just not slowing down as quickly, and a lot of that has to do with the efficiency of the foot contact time. We talk a lot about that foot contact time and why it's so important, and here's a great prime example of an athlete who is doing a great job of utilizing that to make it so she is, you know, the fastest woman in the race. Obviously came in second in the Olympics and was able to make a big statement in coming back and being able to beat Julien Alfred. So great race, was awesome to be able to watch. Check out some of the other videos that I've done, other breakdowns that I've done to help you with your foot contact time, as well as if you want to check out the Olympic gold medal final, we have that right here. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if this is the first time you're watching one of these videos, and we'll talk to you soon.